Welcome to the Academic Research Series, a partnership between the university and the high school and Thomas D. Greenley Library at Farmingdale State College. My name is Danielle Apfelbaum, and I'm the Scholarly Communication Librarian at Greenley Library. Let's get started. In this video, we'll be discussing how to find and efficiently search for academic sources for your research projects. By the time you complete this video, you'll be able to identify 2 local resources for accessing scholarly literature, identify 4 web resources for locating and accessing scholarly literature, identify 2 web resources for locating eBooks, and identify 1 web resource for locating no-cost, openly accessible textbooks. When you're doing exploratory research and collecting sources for your research project, you want to make sure that you're utilizing all of the resources available to you. This can be difficult because what's available to you may change over time. For instance, when you graduate high school, you'll no longer have access to your school library. So where can you go for quality resources if you do not have access to your high school or college library? First, check out your public library. If you're not sure how to locate your public library, start with WorldCat's Find a Library feature. I'll put a link to this resource in the description below. Once you arrive at WorldCat's Find a Library feature, type in the zip code of your town and click Search. I'll look for libraries in or around the zip code 11520. It's important to note that not every library you'll find will be open to the general public. Law offices have libraries, religious organizations and houses of worship have libraries, and even corporations have libraries. These libraries might appear in your search, so you'll want to make sure that you've located a public library. You can do that by checking the area that says Library Type. We'll focus on Freeport Memorial Library since this is the only public library in the list, and we'll click Website to learn more about the library's resources. Now, every public library website is going to be different, but here are a few tips to help you navigate. First, take some time to find out how to get a library card. Even if you only want to utilize the library's online resources, you often still need to obtain a library card, which has all the information you need to access the library's resources from the comfort of your own home. This information is typically highlighted somewhere on the library homepage, but if you don't see it right away, look for headings like About Us or Contact Us or Library Policies. If you're still not sure, reach out to the library by phone, email, or chat. Don't be afraid to ask. Once you've ensured that you can access the library's resources remotely, you can start looking for academic resources for your research project. Online articles are typically published as part of a journal, and journals are housed in online databases. So when you're exploring the library's homepage, you want to look for terms like articles or electronic resources or research databases. If you don't see these right away, look for headings like About Us or Contact Us or Library Policies. If you're still not sure, reach out to the library by phone, email, or chat. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Once you locate the library's databases, you'll probably notice that you have a lot of choices. Libraries often organize databases by the subject area of the content covered, such as business databases, and/or the format, such as databases containing video. Sometimes databases are arranged by audience. For example, databases group by relevance for elementary, middle, and high school students. Depending on the number of resources, exploring can be a little overwhelming, so here are 2 strategies. If you're not sure where to start, look for databases that are described as periodical, journal, general, or multidisciplinary. I can see that there's an area dedicated to periodicals and newspapers, so we'll start there. It might even be helpful to do a quick page search for terms like scholarly or journal to help you locate databases with academic articles. Using this strategy, I can quickly see a number of resources such as Gale Academic OneFile and the publicly available content database from ProQuest that might be helpful if I'm looking for scholarly journal articles. Again, if you're still not sure, reach out to the public library by phone, email, or chat. Don't be afraid to ask for help. If you're not able to access your public library, there are other options as well. The New York Online Virtual Electronic Library is a service provided by the New York State Library. The great thing about Novel NY is that as long as you're accessing the site from within New York State, you will be able to access several subscription databases without a login. I'll put a link to Novel NY in the description box below. When you arrive at Novel NY, you can use the subject search to find the right database for your project. Click Subjects. Databases here are organized by the types of topics they cover, so if I was working on a paper about a new federal regulation, I might want to see what's available under the law databases. Or if I'm writing a paper about a novel I read for one of my literature classes, I might choose Humanities. If you're really not sure, no worries. Start out with the General tab. From here, you can read the description of each database and choose one that makes most sense for your project. Now, if you can't access your public library or Novel NY, no worries. There are other great web-based resources to help you get started with your research. If you're looking for scholarly articles, you might want to start with Google Scholar, the Directory of Open Access Journals, Core, and/or science.gov. I'll link to these resources in the description below. Like Google, Google Scholar is a search engine, but this search engine indexes works from scholarly repositories and journal publishers. When you search Google Scholar, you're able to narrow your search for research articles, books, legal documentation, and more. This means you won't be sorting through websites and blogs when you type in your keywords. To get started, you can perform a simple search. Let's say we're interested in learning more about the role infrastructure plays in the acceptance of electric vehicles. We'll type in our keywords electric vehicles, infrastructure, acceptance, adoption. Now, we could stop here and start browsing our huge pool of results, but we'll click the menu to see how the advanced search feature might impact our result list. Open the side menu and click Advanced Search. Now let's tell the database that we want the articles in our results list to meet the following criteria. They must contain the word infrastructure, they must contain the exact phrase electric vehicles, and they must contain the word adoption, acceptance, or adopt, which all pretty much mean the same thing. We'll also tell the database that it's okay to find the word anywhere in the article. Now we'll limit to work that was published in the last 5 years. Let's see what we get now. We've cut out several thousand results, which is a lot, but we still have a lot to sort through. Let's go back to our advanced search and look for articles where these words appear in the title of the work. Open the side menu and click Advanced Search. Look for Where My Words Occur and select In the Title of the Article and click Search. Now we have a really manageable start, but it's important to remember that searching is a constant process of revising. For example, we might want to see how including articles from the last 10 years would impact our search. That gives us a few more options. When you're ready to access an article, you'll know it's available if there's a link next to the title of the article. You might see terms like full text or PDF. However, it's important to remember that not every article you find through Google Scholar will be freely available. If this is the case, reach out to a librarian for help. This could be your school librarian if you're still in high school, your college librarian if you're taking classes at a college or university, or you can email the public library in your town for help. The Directory of Open Access Journals is another great web-based option for locating scholarly articles. Open access journals are journals that are free for you to access, and the content can be read by anyone. When you arrive at the Directory of Open Access Journals, you can enter the keywords for your topic in the search field. Let's say we're interested in learning more about the role infrastructure plays in the acceptance of electric vehicles. We'll type in our keywords, infrastructure, electric vehicles, acceptance. Then, before we click search, we'll make sure we're searching for articles, not journals in general. Then we'll click search. We have a manageable number of results, but remember you can play around with the limiters on the sidebar to refine your search further if needed. Core is also a great option for locating open access research papers. Just type in your keywords in the simple search box and click search. Let's say we're interested in learning more about the role infrastructure plays in the acceptance of electric vehicles. We'll type in our keywords infrastructure, electric vehicles, acceptance. Now we've got a lot of results, so here's a little trick to make our search a little more manageable. We are going to put quotation marks around electric vehicles because sometimes the database parses out our keyword search. This means that it's finding us everything with the word electric and everything with the word vehicle, but it's not necessarily finding these words together. Putting this phrase in quotation tells the database that you only want results where this phrase appears exactly as you've typed it in. Look at what a difference it's made. We've reduced our result list by several thousand hits. Now we can use the limiters at the top of the page to make our search even more manageable. First, we'll limit by year of publication. Now, how far back you go will depend upon your topic and the needs of your research paper. I'm going to limit by articles published in the last 4 years by clicking Articles Published since 2018. Now I'm going to limit by type. This means the item type. In this case, I want to be looking at research papers, not slides, which are presentations, and not theses, which is work typically completed by students. Now, we have a much more manageable search. When you're ready to read an article, just click Get PDF. Finally, if you're looking for research, particularly in technology and the sciences, science.gov is a great place to start. Let's say we're interested in learning more about the role infrastructure plays in the acceptance of electric vehicles. We'll type in our keywords infrastructure, electric vehicles in quotation marks, and acceptance. While we don't have many options for limiting our search further, we do have the option to limit by publication date. We'll limit our results to only those that were published in the last 5 years by moving the date slider. The great thing about this database is that it splits your results into 2 categories. The text tab, which includes technical reports, conference papers, and other documents, and the public access tab, which is limited to articles from peer-reviewed scholarly publications. When we click the public access tab, we know that everything in the list can be accessed right now. All we need to do is click the title of the item when we're ready to read it. Now that I've shown you some great resources for locating scholarly articles, let's talk about books. Now, again, your school, public, or college library would be a great resource for books and eBooks, but in case you don't have access to these resources, here are some other great options: the Internet Archive, the Directory of Open Access Books, and the Open Textbook Library. I'll include a link to each of these resources in the description below. When you arrive at the Internet Archive, click the text icon above the search bar. Then select the collection, Books to Borrow. In the search box that reads Search this collection, type in your topic keyword electric vehicles and click Search. You can sort from newest to oldest by clicking the publication date sorter. To view a book, just click the image of it in your list. You'll be able to view a preview, and if you create an account, you'll be able to borrow the book just like you would borrow an ebook from your public library. The Directory of Open Access Books is also a great option for finding ebooks. Like the Directory of Open Access Journals, all books indexed in the Directory of Open Access Books are free and available to all readers. When you arrive at the Directory of Open Access Books, you can search 2 ways. First, you can browse by subject area, language, or publisher, or you can use the search field. We'll use the search field. We'll type in our topic of interest and click Search. On the right side of the page, we have a number of filters that we can use to reduce our result list. We might want to start by limiting the publication date so that we have the most up-to-date information. And then we might want to limit by subject area. If you don't like how a limiter has changed your search, you can always undo the filter by clicking the little X in the filter tag under the search bar. To view an ebook, click the title. This will take you to the record for the item, and you can access it by clicking the download URL. Finally, let's take a look at the Open Textbook Library. Now, this is not necessarily a resource for research, but it is a really great resource for finding openly accessible, no-cost textbooks to supplement your learning or to help you explore topic areas with which you may not be familiar. You can do a keyword search, or you can use the disciplinary headings to explore topics within each of these areas. When you're ready to view a text, click the title and you'll be able to see your options for accessing the text on the left side of the page. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out using the Ask a Librarian form linked in the description below.